Tigers do indeed win 4-3 against Texas A&M in Game 1 of the SEC tournament. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino. This is RU Series Sports. Hope all of you are making a good one. We know that we are as well. We are here in Georgia, so not a traditional post game, so kind of a little quick retake of the game. Look, one that had, so we won't stay long. That's what I'm telling you. Everyone do us a favor. You know what it is if you've ever been here. Hit the like and share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. Every post-game show is brought to you by, see, I'm kind of in this makeshift scenario, but every post-game is brought to you by our good friends over at betonline.ag. Guys, use the promo code BELIEVE50. That's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50. You'll receive a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, where the game starts. And our good friends over at ServiceHawk Digital Media with the right leads, smart systems, and real growth. Get a marketing system that works for you today. Go over to servicehawk.io. That's servicehawk.io for those right leads. If you're an HVAC, electrical pros, generator pros, you know that where you need to go for top tier marketing, that is ServiceHawk Digital Media, where they soar above the competition. So listen, LSU comes into tonight's tournament in Game 1 for them, and what would be somewhat of an elimination game for Texas A&M. They start off the game, Cade Anderson start off the game absolutely red hot. He strikes out the slide in the top of the first, 1-2-3, getting Kent Hensler and Laviolette. Laviolette coming back from the broken knuckle or finger, whatever it was, where he had to get the little pin put in his finger, knuckle. They kept saying finger, but it did look like when you watch the game that he had something going on with his knuckle. Regardless, he would tough it out. But Cade Anderson, who absolutely dealt in moments and times tonight, would go 1-2-3 in the top of the first. That would only be the start of Cade Anderson's fantastic night. He did give up some runs. But the first time through the lineup, guys, you cannot expect anything better from him than what you got. We're just going to stick here on Cade Anderson before we talk about the overall game. But top of the second, he goes 1-2-3, getting strikeouts on Harrison and Royo, his fourth and fifth K of the night. He goes 1-2-3 again in the the top of the third, getting Keel, George, and Farr to all strike out. So in 3 innings, he strikes out the side in 2 of them. Guys, in the first time through the lineup, I'm trying to think of a time. I don't know if I remember Cade Anderson looking that good and that sharp, but he was. I mean, that is, guys, he was damn near perfect, literally damn near perfect. It's the best performance through 3 innings I've seen, probably the entire season. Now, it wouldn't stop what happened later on in the game. LSU did have some defensive lapses that he could have helped overcome it, but guys, through 3 innings, he was the best pitcher in the country, best pitcher in America without a doubt. And he absolutely shoved. Look, in the fourth, I mean, he gives up a walk, the pass ball by Hernandez. Later on, we get a runner to third, but then you would have a line drive by Hensler, right back up the middle. Laviolette would hit an RBI single into the 3-hole where Jones tried to dive and make the stop and couldn't. I mean, look, when you go through the first time of the lineup doing what you did, I mean, they're bound to make adjustments. And A&M is still a very talented team. I think with tonight, it kind of signifies A&M's season to some extent because they're still very talented. Miles Patton, the guy that you saw tonight, was really talented. Chase Laviolette, broken hand or broken knuckle or not, is still very dangerous at the plate. You got Caden Kent, you have Hensler, you have Laviolette. Guys, those are 3 really dangerous hitters. And in the fourth, Cade Anderson got touched up a little bit with back-to-back line drives that would get in the Aggies' first run. A lot of first and third situations where maybe without the walk, you could have prevented some of this. Gavin Cash, who walked it off on you in Game 3 of the series in Aggie land, hits an RBI sac fly, and it's 4-2 at that moment. He would strike out Royo to get his 10th K through 4 innings, which is still exceptional. So, 4th inning was a little bit rough for Cade. It's all about how you respond. In the 5th, he came back. He got a strikeout from Keel, a strikeout for George to get his 11th and 12th Ks of the evening. He got a fly out into center field that would end the 4th. The 5th inning, or the 6th inning, excuse me, he would get touched up a little bit and where he would give up his 3rd run of the night, but that would be it. Guys, 3 runs. I mean, it is what it is through 6 innings. But he give a line drive double into right field down the right field line, a ground ball single into the 4 hole. Laviolette would have an RBI sac fly. So the same order or same number of guys that really hit you in the fourth came back in the sixth and did it. But look, all in all, I thought an absolutely brilliant performance by Cade Anderson. He started off the game elite, perfect. Nothing you could say. It's just those fourth and sixth innings, the second and third time through the top of the lineup for the Aggies, where he struggled. Guys, in a tournament series like this, in a tournament situation where, look, in my humble opinion, doesn't matter because I still think you're a top 5, 6 seed in the country, no matter what you have done, what you would have done tonight. You got it done, and he got it done. Exactly what you needed. Your team got 4 runs, and he kept them under that at 3. So 6 innings of work for Cade Anderson, which was absolutely phenomenal. Let's go through the 6 innings at the plate. Guys, you came out and what I know that you and I weren't able to talk last night, but a situation where we talked about on Wednesday that made me nervous if you saw A&M because we had talked about, listen, in all 30 starts in the SEC this year, A&M has trotted out a left-handed pitcher, and you had really struggled in those situations. You had struggled going up against left-handed pitching, and I really thought it would be a little bit of a struggle. Well, it wasn't to start off the game. Tonight, you came out really swinging. Derek Curiel with a line drive double down the right field line. Jared Jones would walk. Danny Dickinson would get a bunt down. It'd be a 5-3 put on a sac bunt. So you got runners on second and third with 1 out. Hernandez hits a ground ball. Ethan Fry, I probably should have been an E9, was awarded a double, an RBI double in the right center field on the warning track. Right fielder drops it. Guys, regardless if he drops it or picks it up, it's a sac fly anyway. The only question would have been, would have you gotten your second out or not? And could have prevented maybe the other run that Hernandez on the ground ball later and the next at bat would get for you. But they do make the error. I wouldn't have ruled it a double. But regardless, Ethan Fry is awarded a double. So he gets the RBI on that. So Tigers up 1-0. Hernandez, the fielder's choice RBI, he gets a put out from the shortstop, and then Brown would strike out. So Tigers get on the board early 2-0, which was a great way to start off the game considering the way that Cade Anderson was absolutely shoving. The bottom of the second, Milan, Braswell, and Stanfield will all go down. Milan would have a ground ball single into the 5-hole, but Braswell would hit into a 6-4-3 double play on a little slash, which let me stop right there. I thought I agree with Kyle Peterson tonight on the telecast. If you're going to slash, get a fake bunt and then slash it, you probably need to get a runner on the move, right? And they didn't do that, and Braswell hits into a 6-4-3 double play. I don't know in that situation if you just don't let Brazzy lay the bunt down and get a runner on second, especially with Stanfield, who does a really good job of putting the ball in play. If you don't just try to get him over there, and Brazzy has 6 sacrifice bunts on the season, so I don't necessarily agree with the call. But regardless, it really puts a damper in the inning because Stanfield would hit a line drive into center field for an out. So you go 1-2-3, even though you have the ground ball single by Stephen Milam. Bottom of the third, Curiel and Jones both went down looking. I did think that the strike zone was a little bit chaotic tonight, and sometimes even with your guys on the mound, but especially to Jones and Curiel, I don't know if they were awarded the right situations. I don't know if they were awarded the things that maybe that they saw in the first that were called balls. Now in the third inning, they're called strikes, but they both went down looking. Look, you got to go up there swinging. I mean, I hate to say it, but if it's somewhere in the general stratosphere, you got to swing at it, even if it's a ball. See, the situation with the umpires is twofold. We can sit here and blame the umpires. We can sit here and be pissed off at the umpires, and it's fine and justified when we do that. At the same point, guys, that you've seen, this is now your 31st game in the SEC this year. You got to know that they're inconsistent. The guy behind the plate tonight, this was not the first time he was been an umpire for you behind the plate tonight. So you got to understand the strike zone that you're going to have with him. You got to understand it. So, look, it is what it is. You do go down looking with Curiel and Jones. But, guys, if it's in the general stratosphere, you got to be swinging. And I know it's very difficult to say that because, look, it's a ball. Like, I thought Curiel's probably would have been a high strike, but Jones's definitely wasn't. But in the bottom of the third, Jones and Curiel went down looking. Danny Dickinson with a line drive single up the 6-hole. They awarded it an error, which was a base hit. Whoever was scoring the game tonight was an absolute Rudy Poo. But the line drive that Dickinson was able to put in play and why the Jones and Curiel situation is probably a big damper there was because Ethan Fry in the bottom of the third hit a big bomb in the left center field, a 2-run home run that would be the last time that the Tigers would really even threaten a situation of scoring, and Tigers would go up 4-1. Or no, 4-0, excuse me. Guys, I mean, Ethan Fry is hotter than a crack spoon at the plate. I mean, he is seeing it very well, especially against left-handed pitching. What a turnaround. Look, I was wrong, and I've admitted every game, and I probably shouldn't have to do this. I was wrong on Ethan Fry. He has proven me wrong, and he has been absolutely dynamic for this lineup, and he's absolutely smashing the baseball. But the 2-run home run is massive for you. Anytime you hit a 2-run home run, it's massive for you. But regardless, tonight it's even bigger because that would be the only time – I'm trying to think. I don't think that you had another inning after this where you didn't go 1, 2, 3. Because in the fourth you went 1, 2, 3. In the fifth you went 1, 2, 3. In the sixth you went 1, 2, 3. In the seventh you went 1, 2, 3. In the eighth you went 1, 2, 3. And then you didn't hit in the ninth. So guys, after the Ethan Fry home run, you did Jack Diddley, and that's a little bit worrisome, I guess. I mean, the only thing. Let's talk about that. So after the Ethan Fry home run in the third, Hernandez would get a ground ball. The third, he would be out. After that, I mean, man, you just somewhat looked lost. You did put a lot of balls in play, though. In the bottom of the fourth, you had 2 line drives to the center fielder that were outs. Milam and Brazzi hit line drives into center field. Brown also hit a ball into center field that was an out. Stanfield and Curiel put the ball in play to shortstop and into the center field. Jones would strike out in the bottom of the fifth. Danny Dickinson would also K in the bottom of the sixth. Fry and Hernandez would ground out to the shortstop. So, look, I mean, you don't want to see that. You don't want to have that many innings where you're going 1, 2, 3. It would be one thing if it's like Cade Anderson and they're mowing you down, but you got to give Freshcorn, the reliever for A&M, a lot of credit. I mean, he just absolutely had your number and he shut you down. He absolutely positively shut you down. I don't know if it really worries me. I mean, this team all year has had issues with hitting on the road in certain situations. Tonight, other than the first and in the third inning, those were a little bit different situations. Both of the times Ethan Fry was involved in those situations. You just look very anemic at the plate. Now, there are 2 schools of thought about this as we kind of wrap up the recap of the game, and I'll give you some of my thoughts. I mean, look, man, you won because you had 2 elite pitchers that went out there and shut things down for you, and they were able to give you the win. I'm not going to worry unless this happens again tomorrow, where I'm completely worried about this lineup hitting the baseball. I'm just not going to – I'm going to flush it. Like, look, man, you went up against a good team. But here's the thing that I kept thinking all night during the game. The thing that kept coming up for me was this is the last lifeline for Texas A&M. This is the last game that they're probably going to play because they needed to either get to Sunday or they needed to win this whole damn tournament to get into the postseason, and they couldn't do it. And you were the reasons that they're unable to do that. And I'll get into that in just a second. But listen, regardless, when you're facing a team whose season is on the line, they're going to give you everything they got. Freshcorn gave A&M everything he had. Miles Patton gave them everything that they had. And as much as I'm about to clown on them in just a moment, meaning Texas A&M, it is what it is. It is what it is. you're going to have very talented teams that aren't going to give up. Guys, you ended their season tonight. Now, what an outright blunder of a season this is for Texas A&M. Coming to the season, preseason number one, with all the talent in the world. Now, they had injuries, and they had massive injuries. Grahovac going down was a big situation for them earlier in the season. They had some serious injuries, and good on Chase Laviolette to really tough it out tonight and tip of the cap to him. But what an outright turd of a season. It's the most A&M thing of all time. The most A&M thing of all time. For them to go out there, be a preseason lock, everybody considers them the best team in the country. They go through the entire season, and they flatly lay an egg. I don't know what their situation is going to be with Michael Early. I will tell you this. In my gut, I feel like that they're going to bring him back, but what a joke. I mean, you had that talented of a team, and your season's over. And it is so good. It is so good to be the ones that end A&M season. I personally wanted the revenge on Auburn, and the reason I wanted the revenge on Auburn is because people have put them above you in the top 8 national seed rankings. You go in there and you beat them and be like, look, man, going on the road was a little bit flukish. It's just baseball. But to end A&M season is that much sweeter because regardless if we like to say it or not, they have somewhat come into a pretty heated rival for us. You know, I see on social media all the time that we call them the Goobs. It is very, very, very sweet to end the season of Texas A&M. Tonight's game at the plate outside of the first and third inning, for me, I'm just going to simply chalk it up to Wincy Woo. That's my brother's dog barking. But regardless, it's sweet to end their season. You don't want to have this continue. You don't want to have it going on down the stretch. I can understand why some would be worried. I'm not remotely close. If this happens more than one game, then fine. This team will show, has shown, and will continue to show when they're in Baton Rouge versus on the road anywhere, they'll be better at the plate. Now, a couple of other things that we need to get to here before we kind of wrap this little recap up. Cade Anderson did start. I don't think that any of that was a surprise on a pitch limit, none of that being a surprise. Anthony Eyanson, though, did come into the top of the 7th inning and kind of got in a little bit of trouble, not because of him. He had back-to-back errors. You had, technically one error, but you had the error in center field by Stanfield, and then you got bailed out on the Royo ground ball to third with the runner's interference. Now, it was runner's interference. In my opinion, when you have the green bag, you're inside the line as far as he was. Jay Johnson brilliantly called for a review on a runner's interference and won it because he knows the situation there, and it completely shifted momentum. By the way, you had no outs when Anthony Eyanson came in, and you had what was they awarded a triple, which shouldn't have been awarded a triple. You had the error in center field by Stanfield, and then with the runner's interference, you get the out at first, the runner goes back to home, and then Eyanson doesn't allow the run. Keel hits a weak dribbler right back to Anthony Eyanson. He gets the put out, and then you got Schott, who came in a 1-1 count. You got him to strike out, which was massive. Now, in reference to Anthony Eyanson coming into the game, because I told you this on Wednesday, I will continue to repeat it. I don't know where this narrative, where people are coming from in reference to people saying that the LSU is not going to be a top 5 seed, top 6 seed. I don't get it. The number 1 team in the country, I didn't understand it. Here's how I take the Anthony Eyanson and Cade Anderson going back-to-back tonight. That's a coach that knows for a fact, that his 2 guys are needing to get some work and that you're a top 8 seed. That's how I see it. And even if you just need a win to lock that down in the tournament, which is so stupid that you have to now get your 20th win in the SEC, because that's what tonight signifies, you're 20-11 in the SEC, that you're a top 8 seed. This RPI thing, I know where people are coming from, but for me, you're getting the guy who is showing in Jay Johnson that he knows that they're at. And he knows they're not going on the road, that everything's going to run through Red Stick, everything's going to run through Baton Rouge. I don't mind it. I actually love it. You got both of them work. If you got in a situation where if you got into game 3 on Sunday and you absolutely needed Anthony Eyanson, which I don't know if you're going to do, or unless you're close to winning it all, maybe you can ask Anthony Eyanson to go in there and win it for you because of the pitch count. I mean, I think it's a brilliant strategy. Or you could start him on Sunday in a limited situation. Maybe let him give you 50, 55, 60 pitches. But even in that whole scenario, then you go into next week and ask, what do you do with Anthony Eyanson then? It's a very fine line. But tonight, in a single elimination scenario that you won a game and you're able to get your two best guys work. I don't know what happens tomorrow. I would assume you go Casey Evans. I would assume you go Cowan. I would assume you go Shores. You win, you don't, and you go for it and see what happens. Sticks need to pick it up. Sticks need to find it. But that's where I am on the situation. Again, I know everybody's like RPI this, RPI that. I could give a flying Rudy Poo. And I think I don't think that as meticulous as a human being as Jay Johnson is, that he doesn't know where they're going to be. I don't. If we've learned one thing about Jay Johnson is that if he knew to be a top 8 seed, he had to win tonight, maybe you could make the argument that he goes Eyanson to get the win tonight so that you get there. But I think he went into this situation, I'm more than thinking, he went into the situation knowing that I'm going to get both of my guys work and we're going to let the chips fall where they may. So listen, you win game 1 for you. You go into tomorrow, try to win game 2 and see if you can win this bitch on Sunday. See what happens. But I love it. I'm glad that you got the win. You faced a team that had their back up against the wall, their season up against the wall, everything up against the wall, and you win it. So, all in all, I thought a great night. I mean, not completely great at the plate, but on the mound, you're continuing to do what you do. Guys, you have the best 1-2 combo in the country. And A&M saw it tonight, and you won the game for it. So, I love it. We'll see you tomorrow, and let's go out there and win it. See y'all soon.